Mirrors. We use them every day to check our appearance, to adjust our hair, to make sure we're ready to face the world. But what if I told you that mirrors aren't just reflections of reality? What if they're windows to something far darker? For Dr. Emma Larson, a respected psychologist, the mirror in her office was just a decoration, a family heirloom with no special significance. But when a new patient walked into her life, everything changed. Sarah Walker claimed her reflection wasn't her own. It moved when she didn't. It smiled when she didn't. And it whispered things, terrible things. At first, Emma dismissed it as paranoia. But soon, she began to notice things she couldn't explain. Her reflection wasn't behaving the way it should. And then it started talking to her. Tonight, we dive into the chilling tale of the reflection in the mirror. A story of fear, obsession, and the battle for control over one's own mind. Are you ready to face what lies on the other side? Dr. Emma Larson, a renowned psychologist, had always been a woman of logic and reason. Her office was a sanctuary of calm, filled with soft lighting, bookshelves lined with psychology, journals, and a large mirror that hung on the wall behind her desk. She had never paid much attention to the mirror until the day Sarah Walker walked into her life. Sarah was a new patient, referred to Emma by a colleague. She was a young woman in her late 20s, with hollow eyes and a nervous demeanor. As she sat down, she avoided eye contact, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her sweater. "Tell me why you're here, Sarah," Emma said gently. Sarah hesitated, then whispered, "It's the mirror. My reflection. It's not me." Emma raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Sarah's voice trembled. "It moves when I don't. It smiles when I don't. It talks to me." Emma leaned forward, intrigued. "What does it say?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "It says it's going to take over." Emma began to delve deeper into Sarah's case. She learned that Sarah had been experiencing these phenomena for months. The reflection would mock her, threaten her, and even mimic her movements with a slight delay. Sarah had stopped looking in mirrors altogether, covering them with sheets or turning them to face the wall. But as Emma listened, something strange began to happen. She started noticing oddities in her own life. One evening, as she brushed her teeth, she thought she saw her reflection blink, a blink she hadn't made. She dismissed it as fatigue. Then came the dreams. Vivid, unsettling dreams where she was trapped in a mirrored room, her reflection staring back at her with a sinister grin. She would wake up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding. Emma tried to rationalize it. Stress, perhaps. Overwork. But the incidents grew more frequent. Her reflection would move when she wasn't looking. She would hear whispers when she was alone. And then one night, she saw it. She was working late in her office, the mirror behind her reflecting the dim light. As she stood to leave, she caught a glimpse of her reflection still sitting in the chair. She froze, her breath catching in her throat. Slowly, the reflection turned its head and smiled. Emma stumbled back, her chair clattering to the floor. When she looked again, the reflection was normal. But the damage was done. The seed of fear had been planted. Emma's life began to spiral. She became obsessed with the mirror, spending hours staring into it, waiting for something to happen. Her work suffered. Her relationships crumbled. She stopped eating, stopped sleeping. All she could think about was the reflection. Sarah stopped coming to sessions. When Emma tried to contact her, she discovered Sarah had vanished. No one had seen her for weeks. Emma's fear turned to desperation. She needed answers. She began researching, delving into the occult and supernatural. She learned about doppelgangers, malevolent spirits, and cursed objects. She discovered that mirrors were often seen as portals to other dimensions, gateways for entities to cross over. One night, Emma decided to confront the mirror. She stood before it, her heart pounding. "Who are you?" she demanded. The reflection smiled. "I'm you," it said, its voice a distorted echo of her own. But better. Emma's hands trembled. "What do you want?" The reflection leaned closer, its face pressing against the glass. "I want out." Emma tried to destroy the mirror. She smashed it with a hammer, but the glass wouldn't break. She threw it out, but it reappeared in her office the next day. She covered it with a sheet, but the sheet would always fall. Finally, she decided to face it head on. She stood before the mirror, her resolve hardening. "You can't have me," she said. The reflection laughed. "It's too late. You've already let me in." Emma's vision blurred. She felt a coldness spread through her body, as if something was pushing her aside. She fought back, but the force was too strong. She watched in horror as her reflection stepped out of the mirror, its grin widening. When Emma woke up, she was alone. The mirror was gone. She felt different, lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. But as she looked around her office, she noticed something strange. The books were out of order. The furniture was rearranged. And when she caught a glimpse of herself in the window, she saw her reflection smiling back at her, a smile she hadn't made. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her body moved on its own, walking to the door, leaving the office behind. She was a passenger in her own mind, trapped as the reflection took control. The story ends with Emma's reflection walking into the night, free at last, while the real Emma watched helplessly from within. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling tales. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones that live within us. Until next time, stay safe, and don't look too closely in the mirror.